welcome back. This is the Guardian, and today I'm going to be showing you the Blacephalon Championship deck, which will be debuting in a Championship Showdown later this week. And it is a good deck. It was used by Shintaro Ito. They do this amazing product every year, where they print off silver-bordered cards, which means they cannot be played in tournaments, but silver-bordered cards that you can play with, and you can actually play other people's decks. He got second place up against a Mewtwo and Mew deck, but it's still a good deck either way. So let's get into it. So the main focus of this Blacephalon deck is, of course, Blacephalon GX. What Blacephalon GX does is it has a attack for 1 energy, Bursting Burn, and it says your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned and confused. This is an okay attack, it's good for last resort, but what you're really looking at is the Mind Blown attack. And what Mind Blown does is it allows you to put as many energy as you want into the Lost Zone, and if you do, then it does 50 energy. It does 50 damage for every energy put into the Lost Zone this way. If you don't know what the Lost Zone is, it is a form of the discard pile that is where something can never be gotten back. There are things that interact with it, but nothing interacts with it too much to the point where there's cards like Versus Seeker that interact with the discard pile and let you get stuff out. So then you want to look at the Burst GX attack. This is what you use usually on your first turn when you get the single energy attachment. For 2 energy, you do Mind Blown. And, reading the wrong text there. 1 energy, you do Burst GX. You discard one of your prize cards, and if it's an energy card, attach it to one of your Pokemon. This is a good attack because it allows you to accelerate energy to whoever you want. You can, for 1 energy, you can get enough energy to where you can use a Mind Blow next turn. That is a good attack, and it doesn't really matter if you're discarding prize cards. Sure, it could be something like the Heat Factory Prism Star that you can't recover because when it gets discarded, it'll go to the Lost Zone. But either way, it's fine. So next up, we have an alternate attacker, Heatran GX. We played 2 of them, one less than the previous Blacephalon GX. What it has is an ability, Burning Road. What this does is, once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active position, you may move any number of fire energy from your Pokemon to it. And this really helps out with the Hot Burn GX attack, which does 50 damage for every energy on that Pokemon. So you got a bunch of fire energy all spread over the place, maybe on your Naganados, which I'll explain in a bit. But if you have a ton of fire energy attached to some of your Pokemon, you want to smash really hard on this tag team that you can't really knock out, this is a good way to do it. Next up, we have the single Dedenne. And I wish there was more in this list. There definitely should be more, but I can't complain. Dedenne is a Dedenne, so as long as there is a Dedenne, we're fine with that. Because it has the awesome ability, Day Change. And what Day Change does is it allows you to discard your hand and draw 6 new cards once during your turn when you play that Pokemon from your hand. It's a really sought-after card. It's $20 to $30 online. It's a great card and allows you to do stuff that your supporters that you're limited to 1 per turn. You can do that twice with Dedenne because 1 Dedenne and 1 supporter is a really good thing to do during your turn. You can also search it out with certain cards like Cherish Ball. Those are great cards. Stuff like that. So yeah. Okay. Next up, we have the main Star Ultra Beast support card. It is a 5/4 line of Poipole and Naganado. So, why do you play more Naganados than you do Poipoles? Aren't you going to run out of Poipoles to evolve? Well, the answer simply is no. because Naganadel GX has the amazing ability of Ultra Conversion. And what it does is, once during your turn, you may discard an Ultra Beast card from your hand. If you do, you can draw 3 cards. And as long as you have Ultra Beasts in your deck, that's great. So you want to have extra Ultra Beasts, and these Naganadel counts do it really well. There is 1 copy of Psychic Energy, and there is a copy of Beast Energy, which can act as any type of energy when it's attached to an Ultra Beast. So that means that this Venom Shot attack, or the Injection GX attack, where you add a card from your opponent's discard pile to their prize cards face down. It's an okay attack, but it's not that good. But think about this. For 1 Psychic and 3 colorless, which is very easy to obtain with cards like Welder, you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This does 170 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And most people are playing Dedenne in the standard format right now. And Dedenne, it has 160 hit points. That's a free 2 prizes just because you discard 2 energy. And it's easy to get back with certain cards. And that's why Naganadel is in here. Well, Naganadel GX, I still have to explain this Naganadel right here. This Naganadel, there's 3 of them, and it says, once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And it's a great card, and allows you to use Blacephalon better, because it has a net energy count. It doesn't have an energy count from just itself, which is super nice, and you just bring up energy from your discard pile and send them off to the Lost Zone and smack really hard. Okay. So, next up, we have the last Pokemon in this list, Mew. And Mew has a nice bench barrier ability, which prevents all damage done to your bench Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon. It's a good ability, and allows your Pokeballs to be safe before you're evolving them into Naganadels. Because after they're Naganadels, they're usually not worried. You don't really have to worry about them that much, but when they're Pokeballs, they are very worrisome. If they get knocked out, your whole evolution line is knocked off the board. So, you do want to have this in the list. So next up, there is Cynthia. Then there is Welder as supporters. Then there is Lily and Hapu. So Cynthia, you most likely already know what it does, but just a reminder, it shuffles your hand into your deck and you draw 6 cards. Welder is the big card in this deck. You want to play this in fire decks as much as possible, because what it says is attach up to 2 fire energy cards from your hand to one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw 3 cards. And you may say, oh, 2 energy's not that much. I don't care about you, Welder. Or you might say, oh, 3 cards, that's not that good. It actually is in the scheme of things. You get a free 3 cards and you get to skip 2 turns of attachments. That is crazy. And every fire deck runs Welder. You'll see in a bit, there's another fire deck that is going against this deck. I believe I'll post the video tomorrow. And it has Welder in the deck. Every fire deck is good because of Welder. If there is no Welder, there is no fire deck. Next up, we have Lily and Hapu. And Lily, it says, draw 6 until you have 6 cards in your hand. If it's your first turn, draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand. This is just a really nice card to have, and you can really just enjoy the extra 8 cards if you go second, because remember, you can't play a supporter on your first turn if you go first. And then Hapu. Hapu's really nice with fire energy, because you slap it into the discard pile, get it back out with your Naganadels, and what it does is, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand, and then discard the other cards. It's an okay supporter card. You don't have to show the cards to your opponent, which is nice, but you do discard all 4 other cards, which sometimes is bad and hard to choose between, but it's fine as a supporter in this kind of deck, which has graveyard discard pile alternatives. Next up, we have item cards. First off, we have Mysterious Treasure, and then 4 copies of Custom Catchers as well. What Mysterious Treasure does is it allows you to search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon if you discard a card. Then, put it into your hand and then you shuffle your deck. This is a good card to find everything, but most of your GXs. You can find your Naganado GX, you can find your Poipoles, you can find your Naganado normal forms. It's just a really good card to have in this deck and allows you to search out everything. But what about Custom Catcher? Well, here's a story for you guys. Last year in the championships, there was really no form of gusting, really. And the good form of gusting usually was Custom Catcher. And what Custom Catcher does is you may play 2 Custom Catcher cards at once. You play 1, you draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. That's fine, not too good, not too bad, it's good sometimes. But what really made it able to be played is the ability, if you play 2 cards, you can switch one of your opponent's benched Pokemon with your active Pokemon. It's a gusting effect. For 2 times during a game, you get to choose your opponent's active Pokemon. It's a good card for winning a game. If you need those extra 3 prizes, and there's a tag team, and then you can smash with Blacephalon and do that much damage. It's a good card. Next up, we have more item cards. 3 Cherish Ball, 3 Beast Ring, and the last item card, a Reset Stamp. And so, Cherish Ball allows you to search out your deck for GX Pokemon. You should understand why it's a good card and is in this deck. There's a lot of GX Pokemon in here. You want to search out GX Pokemon. You have GX Pokemon that are good, so you need GX Pokemon. You can get Dedenne with it, and it's a really good card if you don't have a good hand, but you do have a Cherish Ball in your hand, so you might as well grab a Dedenne. Then Beast Ring. Beast Ring is phenomenal for Ultra Beasts. And what Beast Ring does is it lets you search your opponent has 3 or 4 prizes remaining. So this is a good time when your Blacephalon is knocked out and they take 2 prizes, or they've knocked out a few of your Naganados. You get to search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, put them on one of your Ultra Beasts, and then shuffle your deck. This is major acceleration. If you get 2 of these in the same turn, that's 4 energy. And then you still get to Welder. And you still get to attach. And stuff like that. And then Reset Stamp. If you should know that Reset Stamp is a good card. You can disrupt your opponent if they have tons of good stuff in their hand. And it's really good in this moment because in that moment because they won't have anything on their next turn if you do this, and then they won't be able to win the game, and you'll be able to catch back up. It is a good catch-up card. It was banned and expanded. I'm kind of glad about that, but at the same time, Reset Stamp isn't too bad, so just keep an eye out for that. Next up, we have our stadiums, Ultra Space and Heat Factory Prism Star. So what Ultra Space does, it allows you to search your deck for Ultra Beasts once during your turn. And this goes for both players, because you obviously know both players get the effects of stadiums. But how is this good? Well, first off, you're running an Ultra Beast deck. If I haven't shown you Beast Ring, there's also Blacephalon GX that you're running. There's Naganado. What it really runs well with is Naganado GX. What Naganado GX does, again, is it lets you discard an Ultra Beast from your hand and then draw 3 cards. This gets a ton better when you have your board set up and you don't need any more Ultra Beasts. You can just chuck them back into the discard pile and then draw 3 new cards. And it's a good card to do that. And it's also a good card for setup. But what about Heat Factory Prism Star? Well, Fire decks love Heat Factory Prism Star because it allows them to discard a Fire Energy card from their hand and then draw 3 new cards. One thing about Prism Star Stadiums is they cannot be discarded by items or supporters. They can only be discarded if Stadium comes into play, which is really nice and guarantees that your Stadium's going to be staying in and not being disrupted. So, next up, we have our two single energies, Psychic Energy and then Beast Energy. Beast Energy, it acts as any energy when it's attached to an Ultra Beast, and when it's attached to an Ultra Beast, it allows it to do 30 more damage. This adds up quick and does tons of stuff. You can knock out a EX or GX that has 180 HP with 3 energy instead of the 4 energy you would normally need. It's a good card. And the Psychic Energy's just in there for Naganado. So yeah. And then most decks are really dwarfed by this energy count because there are 16 total, and 14 of those are Fire Energy. And Fire Energy is the real point of this deck. It allows Blacephalon to smash really hard and do a bunch of good stuff. And yeah. So that's the deck. If you're excited for our championship showdown with these cool championship decks, be sure to hit the like button and also subscribe if you haven't done so. And comment down below if you would buy something like this. There is no championship season this year, but there will be next year, and they will print new copies of it. They go for like $15 online, so you can look out for that. Anyway, this is your local Cardian. Good day and good night.